Okay, this is Mr. Hamburg. We're going to do our first video of this school year. I'm going to be taking you through a quick review of the Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 tests that we'll be taking tomorrow on Tuesday. Um, we reviewed a little bit in class today, but this is just another source that you can use for our review. First thing you're going to see on the test is continents and oceans. You need to know the location of all 7 continents, all 4 oceans. We took a quiz over this earlier. You have a worksheet that you did, a map that you did that you should be studying, but make sure you know where North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, we'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Antarctica, make sure you know where those are at, and also make sure you know your 4 oceans: the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian, and the, what am I missing, everybody? Think about it for a second. The Arctic Ocean. So please make sure you know where all those are at, okay? 5 themes of geography. The 5 themes of geography that we've talked about are location, which means exactly where something is at, like a street address, GPS coordinates. 2 streets that meet, like Willow Creek Road and Central Avenue. Those are examples of location. Place means what makes a certain location unique. When you describe it, like you describe the school building at Fagley, that would talk about its place. Region region is when you take an area and sort of lump it together by things that are similar characteristics, like climate, for example. We live in Northwest Indiana, the northwest corner of our state. That's an example of a region. Human environment interaction. It's a long one. Interaction. Sorry, my handwriting is not great on this. It's going to take me a while to get used to writing on the computer screen again. But human environment interaction is how people and the earth interact with each other. A tornado is an example of human environment interaction. People polluting the environment is an unfortunate example of human environment interaction. And our last one is movement, which may be the easiest one to think about. Sorry about that. And movement is how people and things move around the earth. By cars, by walking, by riding bicycles, by taking a train. We transport things in semis and on airplanes, boats. All of those things are the theme of movement. Okay, so those are the 5 themes. And what we'll have on the test is 5 different situations, and you have to decide which one of those themes it's illustrating. So for example, if I say a hurricane hits Florida, that would be an example of human environment interaction. If I say a semi-truck takes steel from the local steel mills and takes it to Detroit to the auto manufacturers, that would be movement. Okay? All right, let's see. We've got plate tectonics and continental drift. Remember that plate tectonics is the idea that the Earth is made up of a number of different plates that move. They can separate from each other. They can slide back and forth, causing earthquakes, or they can overlap, causing mountain ranges. Continental drift is the theory that at one time all the continents were one big supercontinent, and this happened hundreds of millions of years ago. And that because of plate tectonics, they separated the different continental plates, separated from each other, again, over hundreds of millions of years, and put the continents where they are currently. Okay? So movement of continents, what else can we say? That these tectonic plates move. Actually, slide is a better word. Let's say slide overlap. And what's our third? Separate. Okay, there seemed to be some confusion today on cartographer and meteorologist and what they do. A cartographer is someone that makes maps, while a meteorologist is someone that studies the weather. Cartographers use quite a few tools in their work. They use computers, they use satellite images of the Earth, they use old maps, they use charts and graphs. And meteorologists, again, they spend a lot of time looking at satellite images of the Earth so they can see weather patterns. They also study data about the weather, the past history of the weather, things of that nature. You need to know some things about water. Remember that what you've learned in science class as well as in our classroom, that there's a water cycle, that groundwater evaporates, it turns into water vapor and goes into the air. It goes up in the clouds and condenses, turns back into a liquid because it cools off. And eventually there's precipitation, rain, sleet, snow, when it falls back to the ground. Also remember the two types of water are salt water and fresh water. Of course, salt water is what we have the most of on Earth, but we can't drink it. Fresh water is what we have the least of, but that's what we rely on to survive. All right, I'm trying to keep this quick here. Physical geography and versus human geography. Physical geography is studying the Earth itself, landforms, bodies of water, maybe studying the weather, the climate. Human geography is studying people, just like you would expect, and how they relate to each other, their history. That's all the parts of the human geography. So in physical geography, you would study mountain ranges, you would study volcanoes, you would study climate patterns. In human geography, you would study people and their cultures, their histories. Okay. All right, the midnight sun. We discussed that because of the Earth's tilt, that there are certain times at the Arctic Circle and Antarctic Circle that people experience 24 hours a day of sunlight. And that happens during their summer. Now remember, when the northern hemisphere is tilted towards the sun, the northern hemisphere is having their summer. That means the southern hemisphere is tilted away from the sun, they're having their winter. We have opposite seasons between the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. So 24 hours a day for about 30 days in the summer. Places in the Arctic Circle, for example, will have 24 hours of sunlight, and then in the wintertime they'll have 24 hours of darkness, okay, for about a 30-day period. Now, real quick, the map or the test basically sets up, it begins with the map portion, the continents and the oceans. That's the first 11 problems. Then there's a short true-false section, or excuse me, not true-false, multiple. Some of it's multiple choice, some of them are true-false. And then our last section is identification, identifying the theme of geography. I will give you a word bank so you have the themes of geography, location, place, region, human environment interaction, and movement. And then you'll read a situation and you'll decide which one of those themes it is. Okay? So really the test is pretty straightforward. Make sure you know your map. Make sure you know your themes of geography. Make sure you go over your notes that you took. Make sure you study those well tonight. I would say that you need to set aside 45 minutes to an hour to study for tomorrow's test to do well on it. Okay?